This podcast is sponsored by Imtra. For a user-friendly, fully automatic trim control system at an affordable price, look no further than a zip-wake system from Imtra. With over 60,000 systems in use worldwide and hundreds of boat builders installing them on new builds, zip-wake is proven to improve the ride of almost any powerboat from 16 to 110 feet. Imtra's full-time team of product experts are available to answer your zip-wake questions, so visit imtra.com or give them a call to get started. Hi everyone, I am Dan Harding, Editor-in-Chief of Power Motoryacht and host of the Power Motoryacht podcast. Special guest here with me today is Nick Steenberg. He's the Director of Sales for North America for Temo. It's an electric outboard company that has gotten my attention after a really successful test of the Temo 1000 this past week. But thank you for coming down all the way from Maine to talk to us, not just about Temo, but all things electric propulsion.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Dan.
Yeah, of course.
Great to be here.
So you have a bit of a background. This is not your first rodeo with electric propulsion. You've been interested in this for a while.
I would say so. My background really is in sailing. My father was one of those opti dads that tossed me in a boat when I was 7 years old, learned how to sail and just fell in love with it. And I think from an early age, I was always fascinated by just like wind power, but also with electric motors and solar and batteries. And I've been like an electric vehicle nut forever.
Okay.
And actually, like my very first job a while back out of college was working for Tesla.
Really? Okay.
In sales.
All right.
So I was always interested in like the electrification space. And even wrote my bachelor thesis on electric propulsion.
Wow.
Back in the day. But this is I worked with a European sailboat manufacturer before I found Temo.
Okay.
But when Temo popped up, I saw just like a young startup that was growing really quickly, wanting to expand in the U.S. and had some really cool designs and tech behind them, and went for it.
Now that's amazing. Let's go in a little bit about Temo. Right now, is that it appears that there's two products in the portfolio. There's one that really it's kind of a very unique tiller designed outboard, and then now it's the 1000, correct? Or is there more to the portfolio?
Yeah, I would say we have like two classes of motors.
Okay.
With the Temo 450, that stick motor, that's the motor that Temo came out with. Okay. We do actually have like two editions of it for sale in the U.S. So there's the regular Temo 450, and then there's the Temo 450 Carbon Edition. And that actually, it's kind of cool because it has a carbon fiber tube instead of aluminum.
Okay.
So it actually weighs less.
Yeah.
But it has a bigger battery in it.
Interesting.
So the whole package, the regular 450 weighs about 11 pounds, and the 450 Carbon is about 10 with a 20% larger battery. So you get that's sort of like the fancy 450.
Okay.
Where you get like more range, and it's popular like people that have maybe have a small like carbon fiber sailboat. They can have like a black carbon fiber motor to go with it.
I bet people like that.
Yeah. But then there's those two. Which is really, the motor has the same power, so you could sort of say it's just like a special edition of the motor.
Gotcha.
And then there's the new Temo 1000. Yeah.
And clearly you guys saw a place in the market for a new entry. What makes Temo different, and what makes you and the company think that now is the right time to enter the segment?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's Temo had the philosophy of portability and ease of use has always been at the top. So with the 450, they were like, okay, how small and how light and how compact can we make an outboard motor? And the funny thing with the 450, I say the Temo 450 is like the anti-outboard outboard. It's an outboard motor for situations, technically. But it's almost like a handheld propulsion device more than an outboard motor. So it's it's where you could take like situations where you'd be an idiot to bring an outboard.
Right.
You can bring the Temo 450 and just even hold it in your hands if you have to.
Yeah.
And it's like quick power when you need it. But yeah, so Temo kind of started small, and the 1000 is kind of the first step into actually like a long plan of much larger motors to come. But I think what Temo's focused on is like really delivering what a sailor and boater needs and not excess. And by doing that, they've kept like simple designs, they've kept weight down. And I will say like our motors are super easy to repair. So we also had the idea, sailors and boaters tend to be a very handy bunch, right? Sure. It's like, we love tinkering things with things. We love taking things apart. And so the entire Temo lineup has that in mind, where you can take apart the motors with a couple of screws, and you can swap out parts, you can swap out batteries, you can swap out electronics if they end up failing after a couple of years. And you can do all that without sacrificing the waterproofing. Right. So you can take apart every bit of the Temo 1000 and put it back together, and it will still be watertight, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's I think, the battery technology, like we all know, is just getting better and better every year. Right now, the small outboards still make the most sense economically. There's a lot of really cool like startups in the space, like Flex Marine is one that comes to mind. Sure. That like they deliver a 100 horsepower outboard, electric outboard today. That you can go buy a boat that's outfitted with it, that has the battery. But they are super expensive, and the batteries are like, with the current battery tech, they're just really, really heavy. And so if you want more range, you got to put in more weight, which uses more power. And it's like, with the tech we have, it works for EVs on the road, but we're not quite. I mean, we are there at a high price point on the water. But what I'm really excited to see is like for these motors to keep getting bigger, and see the price come down as well. I think that'll be really cool.
And then what about the range? Because that's always the thing right now with some of these larger boats. It's a higher price point, but the range, while improving dramatically in really a relatively short amount of time, people are still kind of uncomfortable with the reduced range. Fair to say?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, the number one question is like, wow, this is cool, but how long is it going to run for? Like, is it going to die on me? And when will it die on me? And it's, back when I was like working for Tesla, we were at the same, it was in 2018, and around then there weren't a ton of EVs on the road. You had like the Nissan Leaf and stuff like that, but and then you had the fancier, Model S and whatever. But yeah, people were super concerned about range, and it's one of those things where, like, if you have to just make sure it's in line with your use case. Yeah, it's all up to that. And like for me, I personally have a Temo 1000 on a dinghy that I actually use to get out to. I have a 1989 21-foot Pursuit center console. Perfect. With a gas outboard, love a 150 Yamaha on it. And I've been a sailor my entire life, so this was like a big move to the dark side for me.
Welcome to the light, as I would say.
Yeah, I freaking love it, honestly.
Yeah, it's fun.
But yeah, I use it. I keep it on a mooring in Falmouth, Maine, and I use my little tender to go back and forth. Right. And I use, I probably cruise at about 3 knots in the dinghy, and it takes me, it's probably about a half a mile out to my boat. And I probably use about maybe like 3% battery getting out there and 3% back. Yeah. Maybe 4% if it's really windy and current and whatnot. Yeah. And it's the really cool thing with electric outboards and just electric motors and boats across the board is if there is any range anxiety, it's like, just cut the throttle back like 25%. Right. if you take sort of because I'm a sailor, I sometimes take like a sailor mentality where it's like, oh, I'm going to get to my destination. But like if I want to get there with a little bit more buffer and a little bit more juice,
you can go slower.
Just go like there's a wild difference that if you go 3 knots with this outboard instead of 4, like you're getting like an hour and a half or 2 hours more of range. Like it's that significant of a difference.
Right. And I noticed that too in my test where it's like, it's so tempting. I'm so used to going wide open, but it's like we slow it down, maybe like 25%, and you're still really kind of moving the same speed. We're not talking a big difference. So for me, when I had 2 kids, multiple bags, we were traveling like pack mules in a 10.5 foot dinghy. It was the same thing. It was like, okay, we're going 3.5. We bring it down to 3. Like that was a remarkable difference. And it ain't making a difference. That half a knot at that point, it's what are you saving?
Yeah, you're saving like a couple of seconds. But I always really hone in on the use case. If I'm talking to someone and they're like there's a 4 knot current where I boat and I need to be powering against that. It's like, I think an electric motor is probably going to give you a lot of anxiety. Right. Like, don't do it. Like, stick with your gas if you're happy with that.
I respect that.
But if and it comes to like what you value too. Like for me, it's like I actually hate tiny gas outboards. Like they've always been like the bane to my existence. I had a 33-foot sailboat that I cruised up and down the East Coast with, and I had a 2.5 horse. It was like a Chinese, essentially like Amazon purchase.
For that boat?
For the dinghy. For the dinghy. Okay. And it ran probably like 30% of the time and was louder than a chainsaw. Yeah. And of course I picked like the worst motor out there.
Sure.
But if you value like just like silence and ease of use and just knowing that it's like, instead of a pull start, it's like you push a button.
It's so weird. When I had it, it's so weird. You're not reaching for the choke, or you're just like, you just turn it and go. It takes a little while to get used to.
Yeah. And I love that like when it's sitting in neutral and on, it's just on and ready to go, but it's not even using any power. Right. Like it's just sitting there ready silently, and you have the torque on demand when you need it.
Yeah.
It's all about the use case, and I'll be the first one to point people in the opposite direction if they're considering EV, but they have circumstances where it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But for people that, and electric motors are still a lot more expensive than the gas equivalent too. So that's a huge factor. But if you're willing to spend a little more and you just want to, try new tech that is just like a dream to use, then it could be for you.
I guess it's a good time to give you a little bit of my electric outboard experiences. I remember when the early Torqeedos had come out, and I was super skeptical. I had gas outboards my whole life. It started with my earliest memories of 4 horsepower Evinrude, loud and slow and stuff. But I loved it. And these first Torqeedos, I wasn't quite sure. And we had really one of the early models that had this whine to it. Everyone kept calling it the blender because it kind of had this sound to it. But they've since rectified that. And it really grew on me, especially because we had 2 batteries. So one was charged, and you swapped them out. And I really started to see the light. You weren't worrying about that extra gas can, and it was quiet, and it got you where you wanted to go. Maybe not a speed demon, not like your Yamaha's gonna get you up on plane and fly around and stuff. But it's if you're getting A to B, like you said, the dinghy dock over to the boat, and a little cruising around, maybe with a cocktail, then it's kind of a nice way of doing it. Yeah,
totally. And that's something I actually forgot to mention with the Temo 1000 is that swappable battery.
Yeah.
I think you just had one battery using it, of course, but it's like there's something about having that spare in the boat with you, where then you're not afraid to just run the battery down.
And I would say if I were not just doing the test, if I were a Temo customer, I would opt for a second battery just to have that. Because you never know, especially we got the 2 kids and the dog, when we want to be able to not worry about the range. Let this one charge, put a fresh one in, go for a cruise, take your dog to shore, things like that. With 2 batteries, now it's really a winning package. Because like I said, you could always go. You're never worried about, but this is still only at 30%, and we can't go just yet. That would be an inhibitor.
Right. Yeah. And the cool thing too that people forget is with all these electric outboards, Temo included, it's like the battery's designed to like run down and then it keeps going. Like there is just like a gas vehicle that you ever been driving and you hit 0 miles and it's like, oh shit. There's a buffer built in where the motor actually, it lets you know it's running low because it'll slowly reduce the power output.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I never got to that mark, thankfully.
Right. Yeah. But it's kind of fun we don't encourage it because it's lithium batteries love to be like as close to like 50% charge as possible. So they love to be within like the 20 to 80% range. Same for EVs, same for everything. But yeah, if you do run it down, like the Temo 1000 has a 15-minute essentially like safe mode.
Wow.
Where it'll keep going, but it is bringing the peak power down.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you touched on these batteries are possible because of the lithium-ion, which is something Motoryacht we've reported on a lot. There was there was concern about fires. There was concern about the safety of this battery technology. Is that something you could touch on quickly?
Yeah, it's something that especially with like long ago with like early lithium-ion technology, it was more hazardous, but the battery chemistry just keeps getting better and better. Okay. And with the thousands of motors that we've put out there, we've never had any issues. So it's very, I think it's something that's less and less of a concern. There's sort of, if you equate, I like to equate, if you think about a battery and then you think about the alternative, which is, a highly, highly explosive combustible liquid, right? So like think of a battery and think of a little 2-gallon gas canister. Yeah. It's, they're both the fuel for your little outboard. Personally, I feel much safer keeping like one of these Temo batteries in my truck than like a gas can. Fair point. So it's, of course, it's like, you do want to be smart. It's like you're not going to put your battery in an oven or put it in a situation where it's exposed to 150 degrees or something like that. Just like you wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that with a gas.
Right, exactly. Right. Just like you would.
Common sense.
So you use your common sense as you would with like a flammable liquid, and it's no big deal. And of course, it's you see the same with EVs where a Tesla catches on fire and it makes like national news. Right. But the 37 Honda Civics that exploded that day didn't get any coverage or very minimal. I think that's a fair point. Yeah, people are usually afraid of it's newer technology, so there's always that fear of something unknown. Yeah.
Well, I think that's an interesting point. So let's talk a little bit about the future of electric propulsion on the water. Obviously, it's something you've studied and something you're into. Where does electric propulsion go from here? Let's look crystal ball 10 years.
Ooh, yeah, that's a great question.
It's so far in 10 years already. So, that feels like a big amount of time. Yeah.
I think I don't know. I always look to like the EV market to maybe see a little bit of what's going to happen in the future of electric boating so it's 2025, 10 years ago. Yeah, there were some EVs on the market, but it was, still a lot of naysayers. A lot of people are like, I would never get an electric vehicle. Yeah. But you look today, and I think it's like, in the US, we're a little bit lagging behind. But if you look in Europe, there's countries in Europe where they're putting more new EVs on the road than they are gas. And I think with boating, it's all going to depend on it's the evolution of the battery technology that's super key. Where if we can get, maybe eventually we have like solid state battery technology. That tech is out there.
Yeah,
but it's super expensive. Mm-hmm. But if we get that sort of, if the cost of that comes down, then I think we'll just be able to make, just like we were able to make bigger and bigger EVs with more power and more range. I think we're going to see the same with electric boats. So like with Temo, we're starting off super small, super low power. I mean, we're talking about 1.5 horsepower and a 3 horsepower. So it's a dinghy pusher, small sailboat pusher, and that's it. But like with our future lineup, we have plans to put out like a 3,000 watt motor,
which will be 3 times the power of the current 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. And that will have like a swappable battery system. And these batteries will also have like a charger inverter built in, so they can actually power the 12 volt systems on your boat as well. So you don't need to have that lead acid sitting there. You just have like 1 or 2 swappable battery cartridges to power the whole boat.
That's very interesting.
And then that's just kind of our next step from here. I think eventually, like, we'll have motors that are 10 kilowatt and beyond with larger batteries. 10,000 watt. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
10,000 watt, maybe even more. Yeah, We'll see. But we have up to that sort of size already in the plans. So it's, I mean, and you're starting to see this from some other manufacturers that are, Temo, we've started super small, super lightweight, and we're going bigger. And then you have others like Flux and, Torpedo has larger motors
it's similar,
as well.
I gotta say, you can acknowledge that is similar to how Torpedo started, small with the dinghy outboards, and then now they've grown quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense.
And I'm so excited to see, with my 21-foot center console, my favorite thing ever is sitting at 20 knots, just full plane, not flat out, but just full plane. You got the breeze, you're going out to the islands. Like, when we can do that with electric, and we can do it now at a higher cost, but as the price comes down, it's just so cool. And when you're going slow too, like, I think about when I'm using my center console, there's extended periods of time where I'm going full plane, but when I'm doing those sunset cruises, it's like you cruise out there, but you don't want to sit at 80% throttle for the entire trip, right? Like, there's a lot of peace that happens when you throttle down, and you just putt around at 5 knots, and then you can talk and you can pass snacks around, and and that's where, like, when you do that on an electric boat, the experience is incredible, because you can actually, all of a sudden, you're getting the experience of a sailor where you're cruising around at a low speed, and all you hear is water, and it's such a serene, amazing experience. So
I've been lucky enough to be on a number of electric boats, whether from Evoy when they teamed up with Axopar and a few others, and it's that silence that it's like, once you experience it, you get it. It's got that almost like that sailing feeling. You're just hearing the water go by, and it's it's kind of an addicting feeling.
Yeah, it is. And even though the Temo 1000 is at a low power level of around 3 horsepower, it's I'm even addicted to just like that. The smoothness that it delivers that power is like incredible. It's it's the same, like, for me driving my EV. It's like, I love not going through the gears, and with these small outboards, you can sort of feel what the fuel's doing, and and you got the noise to go along with it, and the fumes. God forbid it's a pull start that's a little iffy.
Sure.
IMTRA is a 100% employee-owned company committed to bringing best-in-class products, expert product knowledge, and unparalleled support to the entire marine industry throughout North America since 1952.
I had this interesting realization a year ago when I first started with Temo, where we were doing sort of an ad where we were comparing a 2.5 horsepower Yamaha to actually a Temo 450, pushing the same boat. And I had, this was a Yamaha that was serviced. It was serviced like a week before. It was like a 2019. It was not that old. Like one of these 4 strokes, and it's a Yamaha, so like should be fine, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't get it started. It took me 23 pulls to get it going. And I was like, guys, I'm not doing this for the shoot. Like, I'm legitimately trying to start this on the first pull. And, and it was like, I finally got it with like just adjusting the choke like crazy. But I had to keep my hand on the choke as soon as so it was like probably like a carburetor issue or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, that's not typical. I mean, I've had great experience with, Yamaha dinghy.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, I get it. I've been there.
Yeah. It was just a funny instance where it's like, and I always say, electric's not, I'm not like, everyone needs to go out right now and switch to electric. It's like, no, if you think it's cool, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
But if you love your gas outboard and you're not interested in that, then yeah. And if it works well for you, like by all means, keep trucking along, and because then the technology is only going to get better.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think one of the challenges for, there's a number of challenges for electric propulsion, and one is the range. I think you guys address it really well with that 1000, by the way, because it's a really clear screen that pops up. It's like percentage left, and it also gives you the time at the speed you're going.
Yep.
It's really, intuitive isn't even the word for it. You really just dumb it down for everybody. So I love that. So there's two things. There's the range anxiety, and then there's the charging capabilities. A lot of people would say, especially for the larger boats, be like, well, the infrastructure doesn't really exist for fast charging. And I think that's fair. How do we overcome that?
Yeah, that's a great question. For fast charging, that's, we're at that stage where we were with EVs in 2012, where there were like 4 fast chargers in the country. Right. It was like infrastructure was not there to go on a road trip. And that's where we are with electric boats.
Right.
The cool thing is for boats that are kept in slips, it's like shore power is already there and set up, and it's actually already at a higher voltage, which makes it even better for electric boats. So like we're at this sweet spot where electric boats that just like plug into shore power overnight, and then it's like a day boat that you're cruising on during the day, and it just charges in the slip. It's like perfect use case. You just plug in the charger and go. But yeah, as far as like fast charging, there's it's like I think Aqua something. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head, but it's there's different companies that are out there sort of pushing the infrastructure.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
To build up like fast charging. And the cool thing is like we've already developed the technology for electric vehicles. All we need to do is just like take the charging stall, maybe add some extra waterproofing, and stick it on a dock. And it's not hard to run power. It's more about there's this guy in the electric boat space, Electrified Marina. I think they've just they're like an electric boat dealer for a wide range of larger boats, and they've just installed like a high-powered DC fast charger.
Wow.
And so it's going to be marinas that are willing to sort of take the plunge. And I believe there's grants out there for it. But yeah, it's just we're not there yet where there's DC fast boat chargers on every dock. But if you look at where we are now with EVs, and we have there's Tesla stalls everywhere, and I think it's just a matter of time. We'll get there. And
it'd be interesting to see somebody, I know, Safe Harbor is doing a lot with, certain, electric boats like X-Shore doing like these X-Shore fleets or X-Shore launches and something. So it'd be interesting to see a company like that, like where we are now, if they keep adapting that would be a huge, I think, feather in the cap for the electric boat industry. If they have a couple of slips for someone to charge.
Totally. And then that's like the perfect use case when you have launches and stuff like that too, where it's like they're going 5-6 knots all day, and then they're parked in the same spot every night. I mean, they probably don't even need fast charging if they just have a big enough battery that can charge overnight. So it's like it's use cases like that. Where we're not there is it's like, oh, you want to shoot 50 miles offshore to go fishing, don't buy an electric boat.
Right.
We're not there.
I think that's, of course.
But yeah, for day boats, for lake boats, not polluting our inland waterways is huge. And there's all these like potential use cases popping up that are getting better.
I think so. This is gonna be a really butchered kind of analogy, but I mean, there's a use case. There's an owner for it. I mean, it's like you can say, "Oh, we can't go 50 miles offshore." It's like, well, yeah, but pontoons are one of the fastest growing markets. Those aren't going 50 miles offshore. Yeah, they've gotten faster, but so is electric. You're not sleeping out on pontoons. So I think, when I look at that market and see how strong it is and its continued growth, it's like, well, you can't tell me that there's not a customer for these electric ones. They're certainly expensive, but again, look at this pontoon market. There's some really high end stuff out there. So again, maybe a bad analogy, but it's
totally
something for everybody.
Actually, as soon as you said pontoon, you made me think of something where. So there's this guy, Nick Planston in Maine, who's one of our Temo dealers, and he's like, he runs his company, Shred Electric, where they do all kinds of, I think their tagline is, we put batteries in weird places.
I think I saw one of his videos. I think
you did?
I think so. That makes sense now.
Super cool dude, but he actually built, it was sort of a partnership with a couple of different players in Maine. There's a big oyster farming industry in Maine.
Sure.
And Maine still has a lot of like active, full-time fishermen, lobstermen. And he built this, it was essentially an aluminum pontoon with a roof of solar panels. And it's an all-electric oyster barge. So typically the oyster barges, they would have a gas outboard. Typically maybe like 40, 50 horsepower. They're not really like planing, but they're cruising around. And then they also have a gas generator on board that's just running all day, and it's powering the harvesting equipment. And Nick had this idea where he was like, all right, people need shade. Let's just make that with solar. Do people want to be sitting next to a gas generator for 8 hours a day? No. No one likes listening to a gas generator. I don't care how much of a gearhead you are. They're not fun to listen to. No, exactly. So he's like, let's slap some batteries on it, and then we'll put an electric outboard on the back.
Right.
And then we'll have essentially like a zero emission solution that is not only powering the barge, but also powering all the equipment in near silence. And like the oyster farmers were like, holy shit, like
it's a different life.
This makes my day so much better.
Now you can listen to the water instead of the hum of a rattling generator. It's amazing.
Exactly. So, and it's really cool to see they also have a work boat that has a flux outboard on it, and it's just like a heavy duty aluminum beast with this 100 horsepower flux on it. And to watch this thing, they essentially use it as a tug to push barges around.
Wow.
And it's so cool to see this electric outboard that was sort of designed for pleasure use, but like with that instant torque.
Right.
It's like it essentially has, I think Flux claimed that it actually has like the torque level of a 150, but sort of like the top speed power of a 100.
I totally
you get that instant torque with electric, which is wild.
Which is something that I knew to expect it, just from, I've been lucky to have these different experiences, but it's, I felt that even with the 1000, I mean, it is, you gotta be ready for it. And it is kind of instantaneous, but it's fun, so if you're the right mindset, if you're looking to just be like, is this perform better than my gas one? It's like, okay, it's like, are you into this? Is it somebody that's, that's the word that comes to mind more than anything with the 1000. It was like, this is just fun. It was fun cruising around. I enjoyed going around in silence. And, the one thing I wanted to pivot, and just like the last thing that'll be in my review, is the shape. The shape of your outboards are certainly unique. The 450 is, I've never seen anything like it. And then the 1000 is very unique. It's not I mean, I guess e-propulsion is a similar profile. They tried to make, kind of a thinner one, but you guys have such a unique shape to the outboard. I just wanted you to maybe, touch on that. I mean, that's clearly part of the design.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the T1000, that sort of like rudder-like shape, there's a couple of things there. It allows us to have an adjustable shaft height.
Right.
So with those like two machine screws, where the motor is sort of mounted to the mounting bracket, you can loosen those up and essentially you can get your shaft length. There's like a 15-inch range where you can lower it all the way down.
Right.
That's helpful if you're pushing like a larger boat, like a sailboat. And then you can also slide it up so you get better efficiency and performance when you're powering a dinghy.
Right.
So to have that sort of rudder shaft shape was crucial to create that. Add that feature.
I didn't even think about that because of how that's adjusted. That's why you guys needed more of a streamlined efficient, because so much of it would go through the water and it's in the lowest mode.
Yep, exactly. And also the big thing is we wanted to make sure that we brought a motor to market that had a removable battery.
Yeah.
And I think we saw what competitors were doing with sort of having the battery on top.
Right.
But we were like, okay, what if we could actually have the battery slide inside the motor and just have like everything in this sort of sleek shape?
Yeah.
I'm a little biased. I think the Temo 1000 is probably one of the better looking outboards on the market. I mean, it just looks like an outboard motor that they took off of a spaceship.
It stands out. When I had it at the dinghy dock, and we had all different variety there. I should have taken a picture because it was like, you almost miss it. It almost doesn't look like it doesn't even have an outboard on it at a glance. It's so streamlined. So it's such a unique shape.
Yeah. It almost just looks kind of like a little bit of like a fatter rudder, basically.
Yeah.
And then also with that shape, it allowed us to have space for the handle to retract. And then with that retracted handle, it's like you're just kind of carrying this. It almost looks like a wing. It's looks like a little airplane wing with a propeller on it, and it just makes it a much easier form factor to carry around, and especially to like store if you're storing it in a larger boat or something like that. You're not worrying about the handle sticking out. It's just all in one shape.
I stored it on a smaller boat, on a 28 Bertram, and I think the two things that impressed me most were actually kind of the more boring aspects. It was the lightweight was huge for me. I mentioned I normally have a 6 horsepower Suzuki that I love, but it averages things like 55, 56 pounds, and that thing is heavy. I mean, I'm trying to stay in shape, but this after like you carry it down, I'm sweating, I'm looking for a nap, or with this one, especially you take the battery out, and then so I think 35 pounds with the battery in, you take the 13-pound battery out, now you're really able to toss this thing around, and it is so sleek, so I can put it in a small Bertram cabinet, no problem. So it's, those are really solving problems. I also think of older boaters when I think of the weight and the carrying things. I mean, it's that 55 pounds, man. I mean, it is... It wears you down, whereas this one I could easily see as boaters age, that being a really nice, consideration.
Absolutely, yeah. I have customers too that it's like the fact that it's electric is actually just like a side thing. They're like, I need a 3 horsepower outboard, and yours is the lightest on the market with a removable battery. And there isn't a gas one that's a similar weight and similar thrust, and so they get it for that reason and that reason alone. That's such an
interesting point. I mean, because I got to say, just for me, it was the storage and the lightweight is a huge difference. Because I mean, we have 2 kids and everyone's like, well, how's the season going? It is just carrying stuff. We take stuff in the truck, we carry it to the boat. We take it from the boat, we can bring it back to the truck. We just carry so much stuff. So to be able to have an outboard that you can carry in one hand easily in a backpack and the kids' stuff is, it's a big benefit. It really is.
Totally. And that's, like portability has kind of always been forefront with Temo. And you're going to see that with our larger outboards as well. Even the ones that have external batteries. They're designed so that if you're in that situation where you don't have an outlet, that, where you don't have like just your boat in a slip that you can plug into, you're still going to have batteries that are removable and carryable,
right?
But can also be charged with solar. It's like there's so many options to get power. So
excellent, very cool. Well, Nick, thank you so much for your time today. You want to look forward to my full report, an upcoming issue of Power Motoryacht. We're online at pmymag.com. Nick,
awesome.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, really thanks so much for having me, Dan.
And now a final word from our sponsor. Brand new this year, Zipwake's latest innovation is their Pro Series, which delivers 5 times faster interceptor response for greater precision and agility on the water. Its active pitch and active roll features automatically adjust trim and roll to optimize performance, stability, comfort, and fuel efficiency across all sea conditions. Additional benefits of the Pro system include balanced turn control, wake shaping, and an intuitive new user interface that adapts to real-time needs. Learn more today at imtra.com.